Imagine walking into a bar on a Friday night where the air is thick with the smell of beer, fried food, and the low rumble of motorcycles parked outside. The crowd is loud, laughter mixing with music, and in the corner stands a waitress. Just another young woman working a long shift, trying to keep her smile even though her eyes look tired. No one there knew her story, but that night something happened that silenced the room and left every person in shock. What a biker did to her would freeze the entire bar. And before I begin, if stories like this one move you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because what you're about to hear isn't just drama, it's a powerful reminder of humanity, kindness, and the courage hidden behind scars. The waitress's name was Emily. She wasn't flashy, and she didn't try to be noticed. But everyone who knew her would say she carried herself with quiet strength. She worked double shifts almost every day, saving money for her younger brother's college and paying off debts left behind by her father. Most nights she was cheerful, balancing trays of drinks with grace, even when customers tested her patience. But beneath that resilience was a weight she never showed anyone. Her life had been harder than most could imagine. That evening, a group of bikers rode in, their engines echoing like thunder. The bar regulars stiffened a little. These men weren't known for subtlety. They were loud, rough, and commanded attention everywhere they went. Among them was Jack, a towering man with tattoos running down his arms. He had a reputation. People whispered that he was dangerous, that even the toughest didn't mess with him. He sat at the bar, his gaze fixed on Emily as she moved from table to table. At first, he made crude jokes. His friends laughed, slapping the table. But Emily did what she always did. She smiled politely and brushed it off. But Jack wasn't satisfied with being ignored. As she passed by with a tray, he reached out, grabbed her arm, and with a sudden jerk, tore the sleeve of her shirt straight down the side. The sound of fabric ripping cut through the music. Laughter erupted from his crew, but within seconds it turned into silence, because underneath that torn shirt was a sight no one expected. Emily froze, clutching the tray against her chest, her face pale. Along her ribs, across her shoulder, and down her arm were deep, jagged scars. Some were old, faded white lines, others newer, still red and raw. They were the kind of scars that told a story of violence and survival, of someone who had been through things most people couldn't even imagine. The entire bar went still. The biker's laughter died out instantly. Jack's smirk faltered, his hand dropping to the counter as his eyes widened. Emily, trembling, quickly pulled her apron around herself, trying to cover up. Tears welled in her eyes. Not because of the pain from the torn shirt, but because now, strangers were staring at the parts of her life she had fought so hard to keep hidden. Then something remarkable happened. An older man at the bar, who usually kept to himself, stood up. His voice broke the silence. "You got no idea what she's been through. Don't you dare laugh." His tone carried weight, and people began to nod. Another woman, a regular who'd watched Emily work tirelessly for years, walked over and wrapped her arm around her, helping her cover up. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted, from shock to guilt to quiet respect. Jack, the biker who thought he was the toughest man in the room, suddenly looked small. His bravado crumbled in the face of what he'd done. He muttered something under his breath, but no one was listening anymore. His friends shifted uncomfortably, realizing this wasn't entertainment. It was cruelty. Emily, through her tears, finally spoke. Her voice shook, but it was steady enough for everyone to hear. "These scars aren't shame. They're survival. I lived through something no one should ever have to. And I came here tonight just trying to do my job. But you..." Her eyes locked on Jack. "You thought hurting me would make you look strong. It didn't. It showed everyone here exactly who you are." The room held its breath. Jack had nothing to say. He got up, his crew following behind him in silence. And for the first time, they looked less like a gang of tough bikers and more like cowards slinking away. Emily stood there, supported by the people around her. And for the first time in years, she felt something new. Not just the weight of her scars, but the strength of her voice. The scars that once made her hide were now proof of her resilience. She realized that night she didn't have to cover them up. She didn't have to be ashamed. She had already won a battle much harder than any words or actions thrown at her in that bar. The regulars gave her a round of quiet applause, not out of pity, but out of respect. That night, Emily left the bar with her head held high, knowing she wasn't alone anymore. Her scars weren't ugly. They were her armor, and she would never let anyone take her dignity again. And that, my friends, is the power of truth. Sometimes the very things we hide are what make us strongest. Emily's story teaches us that strength isn't about muscles or intimidation. It's about survival, resilience, and courage to stand tall when life tries to break you. If this story touched you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Not just for Emily's story, but for every person who carries scars seen or unseen. Because every scar has a story, and every story deserves to be heard.